The whitish grains which I had seen, one of them pour into the box, no doubt formed a fuse for exploding. Fuse, no? Fuse of the bulb, fuse of the electricity connection, you have heard it. So, he concluded that white thing that they have put in the box, that would fuse, that would add to blasting of this bomb. I had heard a sound come from the box which might have been emitted by some delicate piece of machinery. So, when the grain was put, he heard a click click sound. Now, that may be, see, bomb is made of very fine kind of things and wires. So, it may be such kind of machinery, the time setter. But what did they mean by tonight? Could it be that they were putting that horrible design into action on the very first evening of our voyage? See, the ship voyage is not like flight which reaches within an hour. Ship takes days and months. So, is it that within the first day, the starting day itself, they want to kill us? The mere thought of it sent a cold shudder over me. He was thinking he could feel extremely worried and afraid, cold shudder, because you should think if it was a train or flight, you can make noise and get out of it and run. Now, this is a ship. You cannot jump into the sea. So he could only sit there, imagine and feel and frightened. And what to say? He was frightened to death. Cold shudder. His blood had almost turned cold with fear. During dinner, a whirl of conflicting ideas was battling in my mind. Whirl means turning. Have you heard of whirlpool? So like that. Lot of whirl of conflicting ideas. So many things was coming to his mind. What to do, what it could be, what it could not be. So all these things. What I to do? Should I accuse them before both passengers and captains? Now he is the one who came to know about this. So he is thinking, shall I take them down to captain and other passengers? Should I demand a few minutes conversation with the latter in his cabin and reveal it all? Or should I go and talk to them few minutes and tell them that I know it? Or should I go to some passengers and tell this is going to happen? So all these kinds of what to do or what not to do, this question was going on and off in his mind. For an instant, I was half determined to do it, but the thought of becoming observed by all, questioned by a stranger, and confronted by the two conspirators was hateful to me. See, we heard it before. It was told he was a man who liked solitude. He liked to be alone. He did not want to be a public man. So if he goes and reports this, there will be a lot of questioning to him by the strangers, and also he has to meet those two. All those things he did not like it. Confronted means face to face talk or argument. All this he did not want it. It was hateful to me. Might it not be possible that I was mistaken? So he thought in other way. It may be anything at all. It may be I am mistaken. It may not be anything. No, I would procrastinate. Means delay doing something that he should do because he is afraid to. Procrastination means something that you are supposed to do, but no, that putting of kind of things, no? Should I do, should I not do? This kind of confusion was there in his mind. So he said, no, I will not do anything now. Let me just wait because of some various reason. I would keep my eye on the two men and follow them at every turn. He thought, no, I am not going to do anything, but I am going to follow them. I am going to watch them. That's what he came to the conclusion during his dinner time. I saw the villains heading to the deck after dinner and followed them. So he already named them as villains. So he saw those villains going up to the deck and then he followed them. I quickly hid myself in one of the lifeboats that was hung over the deck. In it, I could reconsider my course of action, and by raising my head, I could get a view of the two men. So he went and hid himself in a lifeboat, and there he could reconsider, he could think what to do like. He had time to plan how to go about sitting in that. And raising his head, he could see what these people were to do. It was so dark that I could hardly make out their figures. It's in the ship on the deck on the top. There was no light. It was so dark, so he couldn't see anything. A few of the passengers were scattered about the deck, but many had gone below. So sometimes people walk on the deck on the top to watch the sea. So some were walking like that, and most of them had gone down. A strange stillness seemed to pervade the air. Pervade means nothing was happening, a kind of tensed atmosphere, silence, a deep silence of tension was there in the air. We were to let it off at 10, were we not? Said a voice from right below my boat. He could hear a voice from below. See, at 10 we are supposed to let it off. Yes, at 10 sharp. We have 8 minutes yet. The countdown begins before they take action, before they do their project. So 8 minutes are left. They will hear the drop of the trigger, won't they? It doesn't matter. It will be too late for anyone to prevent its going off. So he said, if I let it off, they will hear the trigger. The people will hear the triggering noise. But others said, no, doesn't matter. Before somebody stop it, we can let it already out. There was a pause here, means there was a silence. Then I heard Muller's voice in a ghastly whisper. Ghastly means very frightening kind of whisper. There is only 5 minutes more. How slowly the moments seemed to pass. I could count them by the throbbing of my heart. So this speaker's heart was beating. He could hear his heartbeat because of fear. He felt that the time was moving very, very slowly. It will make a sensation on land, said a voice. He said it's going to make a kind of excitement and surprise on land. Yes, it will make a noise in the newspapers. So tomorrow it is going to flash in the newspapers. The deck was deserted now. There was nobody on the deck, save for those two dark figures crouching in the shadows. So, except for those people who were crouching, moving quietly in the dark, in the shadow, there was nobody else on the deck. There seemed no hope, no help. Death stared me in the face, whether I did or did not give the alarm. So the speaker concluded that there was no hope. I am going to die. The look of death he could see so close. It's like within seconds you are going to face your death. 3 minutes more, Flanagan said. Put it down the deck. Just 3 minutes more. It was the little square box. I knew by the sound that they had placed it almost exactly under my head. So he could see the little square box. It was just below his head. He could see it. A minute and a half more, Flanagan said. Shall you or I pull the string? I will pull it, said Muller. I could stand it no longer. See, if you are in that situation, what could you feel? So he could not stand any longer. It's going to happen in seconds. My nervous system seemed to give way in a moment. The speaker could not be calm anymore. His pressure was so much. Stop! I screamed, springing to my feet. Stop! So the speaker jumped into action. He said, "Stop it." They both staggered backwards. Suddenly, they almost fell over out of shock. I imagine they thought I was a spirit, with the moonlight streaming down upon my pale face. Suddenly, those people might have been thought that I was a ghost. I was brave enough now, so the speaker got the courage. I had gone too far to stop. "Would you have the blood of 200 upon your souls?" I cried. He shouted, "Are you going to kill the 200 people in the ship?" "He's mad," said Flanagan. "Time is up. Let it off, Muller." I sprang down upon the deck. "You shan't do it," I said. He jumped on the deck and said, "No, you are not going to kill. You are not going to do it. It's no business of yours. Clear out of this." They pushed him and said, "It's none of your business. Get out from here." "Confound the fellow. I'll hold him, Muller, while you pull the trigger." Confound means to stop him aside or arrest him, we say, no? That kind. So Flanagan said, "I will hold this fellow and you pull the trigger." Next moment, I was struggling in the Herculean grasp of the man. Herculean means it's very powerful. It's taken from the story of Hercules, a character from Greek mythology known for his superhuman strength. Hercules is the one who could hold the earth on his finger. That is Hercules. It's from Greek mythical story. So when we have something, the work which is too huge, we say Herculean task. So here the speaker was caught by the Herculean grasp. He could not move. He pinned me up against the side of the vessel and held me there. Flanagan just pressed him to the side of the ship and he held him there. I saw the other approach the fatal box. Fatal means something that is causing death. We can say corona is a fatal sickness. So I saw the other man while one man pinned me. I was like a wallpaper, almost pinned to the wall. I saw the other man going to the fatal box. He stopped over it and seized the string, just stopping, moving on to it and pulled the string. Then came a sharp snap, a strange rasping noise. Then he could hear a kind of snapping on the finger, like this, no? That kind of rasping, unpleasant noise. The trigger had fallen. The side of the box flew out and let off 2 grey carrier pigeons. So what happened? When they pulled the string, the box opened. Who was left off? 2 grey carrier pigeons. Pigeon means what? Doves were let off. So the story ends. Here is an extract clipped from the columns of the New York Herald shortly after our departure from America. So the next day, this is what came in the newspaper. "Extraordinary pigeons flying. A novel match has been pulled off last week between the birds of John H. Flanagan of Boston and Jeremiah Muller, a well-known citizen of Lowell." So this is the pigeon flying is a kind of extraordinary sports, and it is started on the previous week between 2 birds, that is of Flanagan, Boston, and Jeremiah Muller. These are the well-known citizen of Lowell. The start was from the deck of the ship Spartan at 10 o'clock on the evening of the day of starting, the vessel being about 100 miles from land. Now, this particular sports was like this. The pigeons, will be let out on the first day from this ship Spartan and correct 10 o'clock on the first day. The bird which reached home first was to be declared the winner. Now these 2 grey pigeons, among whom the one who reaches home back first was to be the winner. Considerable caution had to be observed as some captains have a prejudice against the organization of sporting events aboard their ship. So they had to be very, very careful in doing this because some captains are prejudiced, means they dislike this kind of sport from their ship. The pigeons were confined in a specially invented trap which could only be opened by a spring. It was possible to feed them through an opening in the top. So, the white grains what they put inside was to feed the pigeons. In spite of a little difficulty at the last moment, the trap was sprung open almost exactly at 10 o'clock. There was some difficulty, you know by now what was the difficulty and who caused that difficulty. So other than that, they could open the box exactly at 10 o'clock. Muller's bird reached land in an extreme state of exhaustion on the following morning, while Flanagan's has not been heard of. So it is Muller's pigeon that reached the land, reached the shore, and it was so tired because it was the winner. It had to fly so long, whereas Flanagan's, we don't know where it has gone. Might have tired of flying back to the shore and fell dead. A few such matches would go far towards popularizing pigeon flying in America. So, this is a kind of new sports developing in America. A kind of half feeling, right? So, we even all through this novel, though it is short story, even till the last, we also were holding our breath to know what was in this box and how it is going to explore. And what the end, what happens, the mystery is revealed. This is the particularity, this is the peculiarity, the kind of story written by Arthur Conan Doyle. So you will surely like it when you read the Sherlock Holmes. It is so adventurous, so mysterious. So till you reach the end of the story, you will be kept in surprise and thrilling. So it's very enjoyable. So try to read those stories, okay? See, the speciality of this story is one thing, a kind of wild imagination a person can have. We saw the speaker from the time he saw the box and how his imagination began to work. First he thought it may be a pistol and then he concluded it was a bomb. And then you see how he connects everything. See, same way, most of the times, some of us are also like that. Our imagination goes too far beyond than the reality. So, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle is able to create imagination in the mind of his readers, such kind of thrilling imagination which will really keep you on pins. It's like very excited. So that's the beauty of his story. So sometimes we too imagine things like all kind of ghostly imagination, no? So many ghostly imagination come to our mind, and at the end that will be nothing. So most of the things are our imagination. So that's what this story wants to teach also. Sometimes some of you have fear of ghosts, right? And in the night when you sit, you imagine, yes, that is the ghost, it's moving there, here, it's entering, the white thing, no? And at the end, what it would be? A dog will be walking there in reality. So that is the power of our imagination. So that also is brought into this story.